I know the one gentleman that just came in a couple weeks ago, he had Tourette's for 36 years. So I think he's 44, started when he was 6 years old. Horrific, just devastating Tourette's, limited his life in many different ways. He came, he came on a Saturday or Sunday. Monday morning, he worked with Nancy Salzman. That morning, started with her maybe at 10 a.m. We went for maybe 2 hours, took a little break, went for another 2 hours. So a total of 4 hours. And after those 4 hours, his Tourette's was probably down 95%. And then we all went out to lunch and we're just eating lunch as if you would never know. Like if you had joined us at 2 o'clock, that was just Joe Schmo that was with us like anybody else. You wouldn't have known for a second that he lived 36 years with Tourette syndrome. So yes, I do think people are experiencing benefits to their life, but also to that question of how is that possible? I mean, do you have any idea, or what do you? How could that be?
I have beliefs, and I think the human potential, what humans can do, is incredible and amazing, and more importantly, the difference between what humans believe they can do and what they actually can do is an incredible differential. Now, I like to bring up all of the things that we've seen, like in athletics. You have the guy who played Tarzan, who is an Olympic swimmer, apparently, so the story goes. He had some sort of world records, and they believed that he had just the perfect build, the extra long arms, I think it was, and a whole bunch of things that they had thought that humans would really never be able to substantially beat his records. And nowadays, apparently, his records are being absolutely eclipsed by 14-year-old girls. The whole thing about the fastest mile, and this is something we have in our brochure, just because it is amazing to me, and just amazing to me. I never cease to be amazed just that we do this. And I think most people have experienced it, but the big picture is here, the humans are trying to beat this 4-minute mile thing. 4 minutes, a pretty arbitrary thing to begin with. Our clock, what's a minute, all this sort of a thing. But to run this distance that we call a mile in 4 minutes, people have been trying to do this for such a long time. And there's this competition between these guys. And finally, Roger Bannister breaks the 4-minute mile. After decades, and medical professionals speculating, well, maybe humans can't run that fast or run much faster, and they're shaving off to finally beats it. The next 18 months after that, 50 people beat the 4-minute barrier. One person opens the gate. And we see this as children, you're a little kid and as boys, I don't know if you ever did this, had little bike jumps or little stunts that you try to do, jumping off the roof or
Fort stuff.
Right, whatever it is. And the first time we try it, we're really tentative, and then no one can do it. Then one kid can do it. By the end of the week, everyone does it, and they're on to the next harder thing, because that's the way we are. We limit ourselves. What we call a limiting belief is just that, a belief that is limiting. It means it's a false belief. It's one that later ultimately can be shown just wasn't true. We have this in so many different areas. So we have all these people born with different neurologies, different existences, different experiences. We want to be able to empower people. And I think we have a very strong methodology to help people remove limiting beliefs, but particularly dealing with the way our will interfaces with our body, our neurology, our viscera. And we have these different techniques that help people, if you will, drive their vehicle better. And if they have this urge to tick or things like that, even if it's a subconscious urge, we have a methodology that helps with that. And it appears that we do. And we've been studying it for years. We have different ways of studying it. The Tourette's project is a specific, very specific, interestingly measurable thing. And when I say interestingly measurable, as I said, even if we never came up with exactly, and I believe we know what we do. I believe we know what we do with our method to a great degree. And I could be completely proven wrong. But what is true is you have now 9 people that came in.
Well, there's me plus 7 more now.
Or 8 people.
We've got 2 more that are
coming,
happening
right.
soon, yeah.
So, okay, you have these people that come in, certain measurable things, and they come out, and they're different. Different to a way that makes their lives better. And in some cases, I think there's people who couldn't ride bicycles or couldn't drive or whatever, able to do those things where they couldn't. That's important. Even if it's just that we're selecting people at a crucial time, we somehow, I don't know, our brochures, our way of recruiting, whatever it is, selects the people that are ready, and we can observe this. We have very valuable data of people undergoing the process of going from what you might call full-blown Tourette's to close to 0 in a matter of hours, and we have data on exactly how that happened. I should say exactly what happened. Do we know exactly the exact how? We may never know that. We don't even know exactly how bones heal. You know, you have a broken bone. You can chart out all the chemical reactions, biological reactions you want, but the question of why does that happen? Why does that go? Well, it's an endothermic reaction or endogotic reaction. You have extra heat in the area. Well, why? Why does that happen? You can always go to the why, and there's always the why you can't answer. And the nature of science is just always pushing on those boundaries and making clever guesses and trying to verify them.
Well, we seem like we have, this is just my experience, that our culture, maybe other cultures, but is stuck on the why. Mm-hmm. Like we get very fixated on the why. Why that happens.
You mean our cultures in America?
Yeah, in the United States, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have that experience or not, but like even in the field, right now, if you look around the world with Tourette syndrome, there's, hundreds of thousands, probably millions and millions of dollars into research of looking for the cause, looking for why does this happen? Mm-hmm. I guess my question to you is, do you find that to be, where does that lay in level of importance?
It's a very funny thing. Why it happens and that it happens form an interesting system. If we were always just looking for why, we would, in a sense, annihilate existence. It's almost as if you want to look at it as 2 different processes. Some people can be very, very obsessed with why they exist, and some people can be very, very obsessed that they exist. They just want to experience existence itself without any whys. Then there's some people who are completely obsessed with the why, and so obsessed with the why that they don't experience that they exist. And somewhere in between those things is what you might call a healthy, practical existence. Now, you could sit and meditate all day long and just experience existence all day long, and then you don't get the bills paid. There's a practical nature. Existence isn't just a state of being. There is, by necessity, practical interface with the world. And the balance, I spoke about this in a few other places where we have chaos and structure, and we also have other dichotomies. We have, being and doing and those sort of a thing. And other people have spoken of these things. Experiencing life as a hybrid of the two, and that there's no right or wrong, we sort of find our way. Because the moment we think we know something, if you look at structure versus chaos, that's a very structured statement. And it pulls it pulls us, what you might say, away from truth. And if we say, well, no, you can never know, you don't know anything, that's too much chaos, pulls you away from truth. It's very Heisenberg uncertainty principle-esque, you don't have the 2 things known at once. You have a balance of the 2 within a certain certainty. And that's how we carve out, life. That's how we carve out ourself. That's how we carve out even ethics in an ethicist's type of existence. When we weigh out an ethical dilemma, it's an ethical dilemma because it doesn't have a single solution. There is no right way. There's understanding all the ways deeper. And the more you understand the problem, the more you understand the depth of the possibilities, and the more you can take what you've experienced in your existence and bring it to bear. And that's what we call wisdom, the ability to really harness your life experiences and bring them to bear in each decision. Not only do you understand the problem more deeply and why you might decide one thing or another, but through doing that, you understand yourself more deeply. So by studying the problem, we understand the problem, and we also understand ourselves. And here's this constant systems approach. It's not definite, but it's progressive. And likewise with the Tourette's. On one hand, it may be total happenstance. On the other hand, we may be a totally causal agent. It's probably something very much in between. And the more we study it, the more we do it, the more we gain an identity of it and an understanding of it. Will we ever exactly know? No. Will we ever, gain some insight? I suspect so. So it has this interesting carving thing. So we've started to carve out this understanding, and this helps us even understand what we do, what you might hypothesize is a neurology. The current medical belief, I think, of Tourette's is that it's a neurological thing. Some of the interventions involve things like deep brain stimulation, and you were telling me about a case where they go into someone's brain, they put in certain equipment, and that became infected. They had to go in and remove it. Going in and out of someone's brain is pretty tricky business. It's pretty intense.
Yes.
And I know Tourette's can be socially have pretty rough consequences.
It's a nightmare for some people.
Yeah. So sometimes desperate situations require desperate measures. I think we're fortunate that we've either witnessed, participated, caused probably some mix of those things for 7 people's lives to be substantially better. And now we've gotten better at it, so we can do it in a matter of hours, where in your case you went through a journey with our curriculum, and it wasn't in any fashion that was organized to help you with Tourette's. That was a side effect, but the side effect was it went away.
Yeah, what took me about a year, probably about a year and a half, what took me about a year and a half has now been replicated in about 4 hours. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty wild.
Well, at the time, and nothing against you, but the time you went through the year and a half, we weren't focusing on Tourette's. We're focusing on you, and Tourette's was a thing. But now we focus, more on helping someone adapt with that specific thing within a body, within a neurology. Just like some people find that, like I'm left-handed. There are a bunch of things that I do differently because I'm left-handed. If I insisted on not doing them differently or didn't believe I could do them differently, I would have all sorts of problems. But I do believe that I can adapt. I can use other strategies. I can do other things, and left-handedness can be a real advantage. So my particular 1 in 7 or 1 in 9, whatever, I think it's 1 in 7 people are left-handed or something like that. There are a lot of strategies I can use to drive that slightly different automobile of a body differently. And is Tourette's neurological? May well be. In a way, it's beyond what we worry about. You present a certain stimulus response profile. We help you expand. We help you design or change, whatever, that stimulus response profile. And maybe 50 years from now, if they ever come up with a way of specifically finding the exact physiological thing that says, this person has Tourette's, they might be amazed that a whole bunch of people, including yourself, have this Tourette's thing but don't exhibit any of the symptoms that are often exhibited with Tourette's. Left-handed people often, maybe they often trip over their right foot. That doesn't mean all left-handed people have to, and if they become aware of it and develop strategies to work with their left-handed vehicle, You don't have to. So it seems, from our perspective, that at least the people that we've dealt with Tourette's, maybe it is genetic, maybe it is neurological, maybe it's none of those things. Doesn't matter to us. They don't have to drive the body that way.